Something I think is a little unfair.
What?
You put me in the basement when I wanted the penthouse of your heart.
God.
I have so much to discover. Every day is a new adventure.
We're getting a new album tonight.
How are you taking care of yourself?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm okay.
All right.
I'm just gonna be happy that there's a new album.
Yeah.
Is there something else to do?
Something I suggest is that you put yourself in the penthouse of your own heart.
I'm gonna move on.
Hi, Jillian Benzavalli.
Hello, Patrick Hines.
Oh, fam. I'm going to say this again. Follow us on social media. If you want to see the really fun moments from our episodes, our social media person, Erin, who's incredible.
Best.
Our videos on our social media are like a cut above. They are so funny. They are
all
so
thanks
good.
to Erin.
And they are so well edited, and Erin does them all. So it's True Crime Obsessed Podcast on TikTok and on Instagram.
Yes.
Go follow us.
Yeah.
And join our Facebook group, True Crime Obsessed Podcast discussion group, if you want to come and make friends and talk about the episodes and like find out the cool things we're doing, like meetups, and we're doing like watch parties, and we do like all the fun Patreon stuff. We announce it all in there.
That's true. We do.
It's all there.
We do exactly that.
We do. You're in the penthouse of my heart.
Okay, good.
Okay, I'm done. I'm done. What are we talking about today?
All right, so this is Can I Tell You a Secret? This is on Netflix. It's 2 parts. We're going to be doing one part this week and then the next part next week.
Yeah, so part 2 is available right now and ad-free on Patreon. So you don't have to wait until next week to hear our part 2 of this and get like the conclusion, because the conclusion is wild.
It's crazy.
If you're a member of Patreon, you can go get it right this second ad-free. If you'd like to join the Patreon, you'll get it ad-free right now with like all the 400 other bonus episodes as well.
Yeah.
But part 2 will also be our regular episode next week.
Yes.
I think we explained that pretty well.
I mean, we've done it enough. If you don't know how to explain it at this point.
It's been a minute since
it's
we've done this,
It's been a long time
though.
since we've done it, though.
So, but here we are.
Okay.
A nightmare figure infiltrated their lives. This was the biggest stalking case I'd ever seen.
Wait till I really get going.
Hundreds of victims.
Women, girls, family members.
Too many to comprehend.
I'm gonna come and get you.
They take over your identity.
Like a shapeshifter, this stalker seems to know everything.
What's up? And guess what? Not saying who I am, but you've an idea.
What are they going to do next?
They're gonna hurt you. It's terrifying.
Unsafe. Watched. Like prey.
Will you promise to keep it our secret?
I was ready to fight the battle of finding out who this stalker was,
Defend myself, fight my corner.
but they knew that they were winning.
I gotta tell you, girl, this coming up on, which we don't usually take notes on, and I didn't, is absolutely terrifying.
It's pretty terrifying because it's like we start off, it's dark, where it's the middle of nowhere.
Hiya.
We have the audio and a distorted voice, plus there are whispers happening.
Yeah.
Do not recommend.
No,
0 out of 10.
The distorted voice will get me every single time, even when I know it's fake or whatever, which it is. The distorted voice thing is terrifying. This documentary.
With whispers in the
I
background?
know.
What's next? Children singing? Children singing Christmas carols?
What's next? Children being on my airplane or vacation?
Kids are allowed to exist in the world.
Listen, the most
I didn't say the airplane thing. You did.
I know. And I agree. There should be childless flights. There are times that I fly without my kid all the time. I'd love to be on a childless flight.
But I'm not that person being like, oh, like shut this monster up. Like kids are going to be kids. I understand.
There was a baby behind me on a flight last week who was screaming its head off. And I turned to all I wanted to do was hold the parents' hands and be like, no one hates you.
Yeah,
no one here hates you.
No one's having fun.
No.
It's not like the parents like, ha suck on that. Like, no.
Nobody here hates you.
It's mortifying.
Anyway, we're suddenly on the beach with this gorgeous woman who's like doing fire breathing and dancing.
Her name is Abby. She's a fire breather. I'm getting major Keely Jones vibes from Ted Lasso.
1,000,000%.
Please take that as a compliment.
Yes.
It is.
When I'm performing fire breathing, I feel really strong and powerful. I know that the fire is completely in my control. I've never been this free in my whole life. And I'm always sharing everything I do on Instagram.
Abby's amazing. And all of the women here are amazing. The
Yeah.
trend with all of these women are that they're like powerful and creative and they like work really hard to get where they are and they're great.
Yes.
And that is why the stalker wants to destroy them because he hates women.
Exactly.
So all of these women, like you're going to hear something very similar about all of them, that it's like they're working hard, they're happy, they're thriving, they're
Yep.
living their life. And that's what made them targets.
They're also, what is so cool is that like we can relate to them a little bit. Like they were people who were just normal people without followings or whatever. And they sort of built their own success on social media, you know, and like they are really proud of it. But then it's like the social media that like is the reason they suffered the way that they did.
Yeah, and also because like Leah says she can't imagine her world without social media. Her whole family is on it. That's how
Yeah.
they stay in touch. Zoe, the same thing. Zoe's a free spirit. She's always traveling. Like these are strong, incredible women, but they all end up using social media in their careers in some way.
Yes.
It's like very valuable to them.
We see so much of their social media in the beginning here, and I'm like, these people have incredible lives. They're always jumping out of airplanes
It's
or
true.
swimming with turtles, or they're eating at like fancy restaurants with champagne.
They're also admitting that their accounts are very curated. And I
Yes.
was like, that's refreshing to have someone admit like, oh, this is all like, because someone says like, it's presenting who I want to be.
Yeah.
And they're just saying it out loud. And I appreciate that.
I also appreciate when we get there the way Abby goes out of her way to say Ibiza.
I'm saying Ibiza.
I know. I say Ibiza.
I'm saying,
too.
sorry, Abs. I love
I
you,
know.
but I'm saying Ibiza. I haven't earned the right to
No.
say it the other way.
But I gotta tell you, Ibiza looks incredible. I thought Ibiza was just a place where Paris Hilton went to get drunk and throw crazy parties, and I thought I would
No.
hate it. It looks incredible.
It looks beautiful.
I want to go there.
Yeah. Hard yes on the Ibiza.
Okay, great.
2018, we meet Zoe.
Yeah.
And it's the weekend. She's hanging out and she gets a message from someone named Tracy. Now, Zoe's a model and
Yes.
Tracy's like, hey, girl, like, I'm a model too. Not the same type. Tracy's definitely way more amateur than Zoe.
And I think like hers are like a little sexier.
Yeah,
a little
she's
more
maybe
like-
taking her own photos at first, you know,
Yes.
because she's saying like, Tracy is saying to Zoe, one of our victims here, survivor here.
Yeah.
Zoe's awesome. Tracy's like, I just want to connect. I love your photos. If you ever need advice, like maybe we could just like be women doing our thing. And I feel like now we live in a world, even though this was 2018, it wasn't that long ago, like that's like the feeling of community online now.
Well, you know what else is interesting? This must have been pre-TikTok because all we hear about is Instagram. We don't hear anything
hear about
about
TikTok,
TikTok
yeah.
at all. But Zoe is saying like, and we experience this as well.
Being on social media in general, you get quite a lot of messages. She said something along the lines of, oh, I really like your work.
Have you modelled long chick?
Naturally, I was like, oh, thank you, that's very kind.
If you ever need any advice on anything, let me know.
If you ever need
Let's
advice,
connect.
let
like
me know.
they're networking,
Yes.
totally normal and fun. Like this is not a red flag right now.
Yeah.
But a week later, Zoe gets a message on Snapchat. She's like, "This is weird because I don't really use that platform."
Same. Do people use Snapchat?
No.
Okay.
I don't know. I've
The look on your face. I didn't even know this. I got a message on Friendster. Like I
Right.
didn't even know that Snapchat.
Snapchat is the one where it disappears.
But
or used to disappear.
I think that's what it is. And then I love Grandma and Grandpa trying to describe Snapchat, though
I
we've
have no
never
idea.
been on it. But I think that was when like Instagram then developed Insta Stories, which is what
Oh.
Snapchat was.
Oh.
And then
Everyone's
Snapchat became
stealing
like
from everybody
obsolete or whatever.
Anyway.
Can't we just go back to snail mail?
No.
How did things get done?
Zoe's like, Snapchat? Like, why am I getting an alert on Snapchat? Zoe, who's like, all these women are very cool and hip.
Yeah.
And even she's like, Snapchat?
Right,
Like,
yeah,
what-
yeah.
This is weird. But it's from a pool photographer asking Zoe if she wants to work together.
Yes.
And Zoe's like, oh, like, it feels like that's how she's getting a lot of her jobs and gigs is like through Instagram, which happens all the time with models or people and like who do hair and makeup.
Yes.
Like they're always posting on Instagram to get clients.
But it starts with Haya. Hiya. That just becomes like, just keep that in mind. That becomes like a hallmark of this.
And then the guy immediately says, can I tell you a secret? You can trust me. And I'm like, no.
But that's the thing. This is my question, is that like, I think that many people probably did say no and then immediately block this person.
Yes.
And then we meet the women who didn't block because Zoe immediately engages and she's like,
She's like,
"Tell me
oh
a
my
secret.
God, what's wrong?
What's the secret? Like,
Are you
what's-"
okay?
Yeah, like, and she keeps saying, and he's stringing her along.
If I confess, it would spoil our friendship.
I had that fear in me of like, oh God, what am I going to find out?
It would be absolute disaster for us all, Zoe.
It was very intense. It was like, oh, but I don't know how you're going to react. It's really bad.
What happens is that this guy builds it up so much and then turns it around so that Zoe is begging him to tell her.
You know, honestly, when you're in a job like this and you're like, he's a photographer, you're a model, he wants to work together, you don't want to just immediately assume he's a creep, I guess, and like block him.
But Zoe's like, you know what? This is weird.
Yes.
So she finds the photographer on Instagram instead. Because remember, this is on Snapchat?
Yeah.
So she finds him on Instagram and she's like, hey, are you sending me these weird messages about secrets on Snapchat? And the photographer on Instagram is like, no.
It's 2018. I don't have Snapchat, girl.
So Zoe's like, oh, you're caught, Snapchat guy.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm talking to the real photographer. So this is, I'm just going to say it now so that it's clearer. This is all part of the plan.
Right.
So the person is kind of being weird on Snapchat. Zoe goes to Instagram. It's all the same person.
Right.
So the photographer on Instagram who's like, no, that's not me, is lying. And now Zoe trusts the photographer on Instagram, but it's all the stalker.
Yes.
We will learn that the stalker does this all the time. He'll be 20 people to prove and not prove and disprove and get trust and not trust. It's wild.
I am exhausted.
It's exhausting.
We are 3 minutes in, and there are people in the world who have the mental capacity for this, and you are fucked.
I don't get it.
If you are that person, you are unwell.
Yeah.
If you can keep this much in your head at once just to mess with people.
That's what it is, because it's like, to what end?
To what
The point
end?
is to just
To
cause
terrorize
pain
these
and
people.
strife and to terrorize people. So the person, when Zoe's like, hey, Snapchat guy, like, I know you're full of shit, they just get like weird and aggressive. And I'm like, just block. You have to just block these people. Don't engage.
Because then that person starts to say, hey, guess who else I just talked to? About 50 people, even some of your family's fellas. So he's saying, like, I'm now in your circle of people and I'm messaging them to fuck with you.
And Zoe's like,
The fact that he knew quite a bit about me was alarming. I thought pleading might help. Why are you doing this? It's not fair. I'm actually quite scared now.
and now she's in, and now she wants to fix it.
But I'm
I understand. Like, I sympathize.
Me too, because it's all happening in real time. But it's like, Zoe, all he had to do was go into your 5 seconds on your Instagram. He gets your parents' names.
Exactly.
It's not
that hard.
Right.
But they make the energy, everything is very high stakes.
And so he's sitting on the subway car that she's on.
And what's this
He can
secret
see
that's
her.
going to ruin all of our lives? Like, he
Exactly.
does know a lot about me. He knows my cousins. He knows this.
But then he says to her, let me start from the beginning. Yesterday, I made a fake Facebook account for you. He's telling her this in real time. And he sends her 2 images of her from her own Instagram that he used to make a fake Facebook profile pretending to be her.
And he's like, here's what I'm doing. I'm flirting with your friend's dad as you.
Yes.
He's putting her in embarrassing or like very precarious positions, but it's not Zoe doing it. And he says, well, it's all in good fun. To which I say, fuck you. No, it's not.
No, because it's also like, we got to talk about these dads because this happens, like the dads are into it. We almost never hear that the dad didn't like that Zoe was flirting with him.
We hear about this a lot, like he'd make a fake account for Zoe or Abby and then flirt with her dad's friends or her friends'
And the dad's
dads.
friends would be into it, is what I'm saying. Like, oh my God.
I mean, we don't know that for sure.
I
They didn't
guess.
say that.
They did
right?
not say
They
it.
did not
you know
say
what I
it.
mean? And like, there's a lot of, anyway, to me, it's just like, it all feels so easy. And I have a 10-year-old daughter.
I know.
So it's all terrifying to me.
That's what it's like. No, it's not at all in good fun. The
Right.
internet can be a
No.
scary place, and we're about to live it. So don't
Right.
do that.
And Zoe becomes Inspector Gadget here because she's like,
Columbo.
I gotta figure. You're right. My bad. My bad. And another thing.
Is there a word worse than bad? Because
I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
I deserve to be in the basement of your heart.
you gotta stop.
I know. But so what happens is,
So I noticed in the screenshots that he sent me that this person hearted one because it comes up with a little red heart, and then the other one didn't. So I literally went through both of them photos and wrote down every single person that had liked one of the photos, but not the other one.
It's screenshots of her own photo. So,
Yes.
but it's the full screen of what it looks like when you're looking at someone's photo on Instagram. So one of them is liked
Right.
and has a red heart, and one of them isn't.
so she can tell that he liked one of them and didn't like the other one.
So she goes through and cross-references to see who liked that photo and not the other one.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yes.
So she comes up with 7 or 8 names, but then she goes down to the lower right-hand corner, and that's where your profile photo is.
Right.
So when she looks at the profile photo, it's Tracy, the model from the other day.
Exactly.
And now
I was like, Tracy.
I know, it's like Tracy obviously was fake.
Yeah.
Now we know,
Right,
hindsight being what it is.
yeah.
So Zoe goes on her own socials and she's like, hey, everyone, if you're getting weird messages, it's not me.
If you're getting them from this girl, Tracy, it's not me, it's
or
her.
if someone's posing as me, there are all these fake accounts.
Yeah.
Here's what he's doing on Facebook, whatever.
Because Zoe thinks she figured it out. She's like, oh, it's Tracy behind all of this. But then a photographer reaches out to Zoe and he's like, no. I know that girl, Tracy. She's had problems like this before with other people pretending to be her. This is not her that's doing this to you.
Everyone, it's the stalker.
It's the stalker.
It's the stalker posing as someone saying, no, Tracy's going through this too. It's a lie. So Zoe immediately is like, oh my God, poor Tracy. I can't believe he's doing this to her too.
Yeah.
And also, like, I'm not being like shady to Zoe, but when so many different people, you're sitting there thinking, there's no way one guy is these 20 people.
And that's what I want to keep
That's
driving
it.
home. There are people in the world that are insane enough to do this.
Yes.
That they really exist. They will pretend to be 20 people,
Yes.
and it's one person who is so sick
Yep.
that their whole life is built around tormenting other people.
100%. So let's hang out with Abby. She's on holiday in Ibiza. She's having the best time of her life. She's with her family, her boyfriend, meeting famous people. She's on this amazing boat party, presumably Pernilla's yacht.
Abby is having such a good time because she's such a fun time gal that like these like other influencers like find her and like adopt her.
Yeah.
And we see her, like we see these videos that she's shooting, like they invite her on this boat trip to a private island. She can't believe her luck.
She says, I just felt bliss.
Yes.
So she gets home and she gets a message from Jody, one of the girls she met on Pernilla's yacht.
Yeah.
And the voiceover sounds like Keely Jones too. It's like, hey babe, I know something huge. Sorry.
I know. That's really good.
Sorry, Juno Temple.
I know.
I love you and I love Keely. But it's the same thing Zoe went through. It's very high stakes. It's making Abby very nervous. And they sort of graduate now. It's not just, can I tell you a secret? It's, can I tell you a secret because I know what you did.
You know, Rick,
She said I had been talking to Lexi's boyfriend.
her fella, Rick, he just said some nice things about you from that day.
I haven't spoken to him. Why do you think I have?
He said, you know, you got on quite well in Ibiza, doll.
Abby's like, what the hell did I do?
Right. So this is so that we learned that like the main girl on Pernilla's yacht was this woman named Lexi.
Mm-hmm.
And this person is saying, I know that you were messing around with Lexi's boyfriend.
And this, of course, is not true.
Right.
So Abby's boyfriend, who lives with her, was like, why don't you just call Lexi and talk to her?
Because when you're Abby, you're like, oh my God, all these like fancy influencers loved me and now they think that I did something terrible. Like they're going to ruin my life.
Right. So Abby calls Lexi and Lexi's like, what? That's so weird. Like Lexi confirms that this Jody person was not messaging Abby. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
But no one is that concerned about. Lexi is like, girl, you're in the cool kids club now. This happens to us all the time.
Right.
People pretend to be us. Everybody wants to be us. Look at how freaking hot we are.
And Abby's relieved.
Yes.
She's like, oh, this is like my new life now with people being creepy in my DMs. Like, this is weird and I hate it, but like, whatever.
But also fine and everything's fine.
But it's not fine.
No.
Because suddenly Abby's boyfriend starts acting strange. He's distant. He doesn't want to hang out anymore. And then suddenly he starts accusing Abby of cheating on him. I know everything. I know you went out to the club and you cheated on me with a security guard.
Like,
and Abby's like, what are you saying?
And Abby's like, what are you talking about? She's like, he's saying there are two girls from Instagram who saw you, and I know they saw you because they described exactly what you were wearing that night.
And they messaged me saying, can I tell you a secret?
Right. But I'm like, wait a second. How did the stalker know what she was wearing
Well, that's
that night?
terrifying.
Right. I mean, maybe she was posting pictures from her own Instagram.
Right. And then just timed it.
Yes.
Oh, on this date, she was wearing this in her Insta story or did that.
Because there are things that happen throughout that is kind of like, but wait, how did he know that?
I think there are times where he's definitely stalking them in person because we know that for sure.
Because
and it's
also,
terrifying.
Abby is saying like the girls that are like apparently telling the boyfriend what she did, Abby's like,
He showed me their accounts and I didn't recognize the accounts, but they looked like girls that were at university age. They had followers, they had like a full profile. So I knew that they were real girls.
these are real people
They
with
seem real.
followers.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know how he's doing that. Like if they have, we don't know how many followers they have that make these accounts look real to Abby.
Yeah.
But she's like, it seems like these girls really are saying this to him, even though it's definitely not
and
true.
Abby's like, look, this isn't true. Either these girls just hate me or they like you and they're trying to break us up. Like either way, they're lying. And I'm like, you know what, Abby? Fuck this guy.
If he did not believe in you at this point, like, that's insane.
You're just believing random strangers
Right.
on the internet who are just looking for drama. Like,
Who,
Abby,
like-
you dodged a bullet, girl. You're so much better than
All
this guy.
they did was go to your account and see what outfit you wore that night and then tell him the outfit you wore that's already on your Instagram.
Right. As Abby is saying, like, it's not true. What do you want me to do? Like, it's a shitty situation.
Abby just seems like a very trustworthy person. She just
Yeah.
seems like a very nice, like, honest person.
Right. And so Abby just says, like, the seed was planted and maybe he believed me, but it was never the same. And eventually he breaks up with her because he can't trust her anymore. And I'm like, this is crazy.
And she says he wants no contact with me even now. I'm like, even now that you're in this documentary
It's
about
a
this,
lie.
It's a lie, boyfriend.
And I'm like, but this is what these people do. Like sometimes planting a seed
I know.
is all they need to cause a lot of destruction.
She also says like he was the love of her life, like her first like real serious like love. And like I'm like,
Abby, you could do so much
so much better, but like shouldn't sitting down for a documentary about this thing that
I know.
happened,
I hope
like,
he watched it.
Me too.
It feels like an idiot.
Yeah, totally. He's not invited to her fire breathing shows
No.
anymore. Absolutely not.
Abby, I'm going no contact with that guy.
I know.
So let's go to Kent in the UK. We're all in the UK except
Yes.
when we're partying with
We meet
Cornell and
Leah.
Ibiza. Leah's great.
She's amazing.
Leah, they're all amazing.
Yeah.
She worked super long days. She's a paralegal. She would work like 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Those are long hours.
Yeah, they are. And one day she gets a message from Rachel. Once again, Keely Jones is like, sorry to bother you, babe. It's urgent. I'm like, Keely. But it's the exact same thing.
Babes,
What is going on?
I swear my life, right?
She's calling me doll, calling me chick. This must be a girl I know.
These fake accounts are just really familiar. Calling her
Yes,
babe,
yes.
calling her girl, acting
Yes.
like a sense of familiarity to kind of get her guard down a little
Yeah.
bit. And then all this panic about like, it's huge. You have to swear on your life, Leah. Like the secret is so big and I'm coming to you because, oh my God. And Leah's like, what is going on?
Leah lives at home with her parents and she like runs into their room in the middle of the night and they're like, girl, just ignore it.
Yes, block these people.
Block it. And like, can we just say, I cannot say that enough times. If you get messages like this on your social media, just block these people.
Yeah.
Just block them because I'm telling you.
If there was a big secret, if there was a big drama, no one is DMing you.
No.
Some stranger isn't DMing you about it on Instagram, I promise.
Like, I'm not blaming the victim here, but like 200 people blocked this person before they got to Leah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And we aren't seeing the screenshots. Like Leah's just explained. I don't know who this person was saying they were to Leah before we got to tell you, can I tell you a secret? Because it's instantly very high stakes. But again, she's being very familiar. So she could be lying and saying, I know this person, I know that. I need to tell you about something that, you know, like I heard that maybe you can help me with. Like, we don't know.
Well, I was looking at Abby's Instagram today and she's posting about the documentary a lot. And she's like, even the documentary didn't tell the whole story.
Of course.
Like, there's so much more that like I'm never going to recover from or whatever.
Absolutely.
You know?
Just the stress of this, the confusion, the loneliness.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, it's
And
crazy.
probably there is probably actually like, there's like when you're making a documentary like this, things have to be left out in order for it to be cohesive.
Yeah.
So like who even knows what else is
Yeah, I don't think Leah got one DM that said, can I tell you a secret? And she was like, here. No, there's got to be more to this for sure. But the next morning,
When I woke up in the morning, I had loads of messages from loads of different accounts.
Will you be truthful?
Friends, family, old school friends saying that they had messages too from accounts asking if they knew me.
And they're all like, girl, we got crazy messages about you all night long. Like, what is going on? Then they're like, we have messages from you because this person is now making accounts pretending to be her DMing these people.
Right. So
like,
Leah,
imagine you wake up tomorrow morning and you have 40 DMs, all of them about me from different people.
That's
even though
crazy.
we know it's all the same person making these fake accounts.
Right.
That would
It's
look insane to
That's
you.
insane. It's insane. So Leah posts about this fake account on her social media, just saying like, I'm being stalked by @RachelTyler23. Like, please report, please block. This isn't me. Like, she needed to make sure she's defending her reputation. And she's like, this is weird.
Yes.
This made it worse.
Yeah. She's like, this did not go down well.
Right.
So this person.
Because these people are not well. People
No.
who do this are not well.
No. So the stalker gets every single person's number connected to her. I don't know how they do that, but somehow they do. This stalker is making a ton of fake accounts on every platform, Snapchat, WhatsApp, Facebook. This is so funny seeing people going to Facebook so often because I feel like nobody goes there anymore.
Yeah. But this person is contacting all of these men.
People's husbands, boyfriends, my dad, family friends. Any men, we're talking, invite older males round to my house. was very sexual.
I can't slow down on that enough.
Like,
this person is inviting men to Leah's house
Yes.
for sex.
Which means this person knows where she lives, which
Yeah.
I can't tell you how scary that is for a stranger on the internet who has nothing but time
Exactly.
and a lot of hate and anger and wants to cause destruction.
I mean, it's so easy to find.
It's
You
so
can
easy to find.
Anybody can find out where anybody lives. It's like we need a social contract about just don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Everyone stop being assholes.
People
just
insist on it.
it is wild.
Sometimes people insist on it.
All it takes is one person.
Yeah.
You know?
These women, all of the women we've met, are getting hundreds of messages a day. They are paranoid in their daily life.
Yeah.
They can't trust anyone. They're on edge all the time. They are 100% being stalked because then they would hear oh, did you saw you almost were late to that exercise class you tried to go to.
Right.
Some of these women live alone. This is really, really scary.
And they're saying it's taking such a mental health. Everyone in their life is guilty. Because it's whoever is doing this knows intimate details about them. It seems to them that they're just not realizing that they make their lives available online so anybody could find these things out about them.
And they don't realize that they're not alone in this. It feels so lonely when it's happening.
They think it's only happening to them.
But Leah doesn't know about Abby and Abby doesn't know about Zoe.
Yeah. That's another thing. And I think that's why Leah did the smart thing of this person is stalking me. The next thing I would do is go to every Facebook and if you're being stalked by this person, so am I.
Right.
Let's come together.
Right. So what Zoe does,
I wasn't replying, just everything that they said, I was screenshotting. I thought I need to keep a record of this. I need proof.
she makes a record of it. She files a police report, which is what you have to do when something like this happens. Usually they'll tell you it's not actionable, which is what Zoe hears as well, but you have to put it on the record somehow.
Yes. I have one other thing I wanted to point out. Zoe says she's not responding to this person at all anymore, but she's screenshotting everything. And he's saying to her, why are you screenshotting? The police are never going to help you. Screenshots get you. How does he know she's screenshotting?
I think on Snapchat it would send an alert.
Oh, right.
But he's probably just taking a wild guess.
Yeah.
Which is a good guess because she's not responding.
Yeah.
She's screenshotting everything for her evidence. It's probably he just took a shot in the dark and he was right.
And the thing about this stalker is that his presumption is that as much as I'm doing to you, it's not, the police are not going to help you.
And they're not going to help you.
He just knows that they won't. And he's telling them, and he's right.
And the cops will tell her why. And I have personal experience with this too. And the reason why, we'll get there in a minute.
Yeah. So we get the story from Zoe about going to this boot camp class.
Like an exercise class.
Like an exercise class, right? What happened was a friend texts her and says, hey, are you messaging me on WhatsApp? And she's like, I'm not. What number is messaging you pretending to be me? So that friend sends a screenshot of the phone number. 2 minutes later, she gets a text from a guy named Nathan at the boot camp class asking if to confirm that she's coming. But Nathan is messaging her from the very number her friend just messaged her from. So she's like, oh my God, I figured it out. It's Nathan. Nathan is the stalker, which makes sense. He knows her. He knows when she's going to boot camp class.
Right.
He's got information on her. So he's saying, are you still coming to your session at 2:00? So she's like, fuck this Nathan guy.
So I rang boot camp. Nathan's wife answered. Has Nathan just messaged me? And she was like, no, you've just messaged us. Sorry, what?
You're messaging us.
And she's like, wait, what number is it from?
And they send it to her. It's the exact number that the friend had sent. So this guy is cloning phone numbers.
Right.
What happened was the guy messaged the boot camp and was like, hey, it's Zoe. What number do you have on file for me?
And that's how he has her phone number.
And that's how he has her phone number.
Right.
So he is technologically sophisticated enough,
of course,
to know how to do this kind of shit.
And again, no one, because you don't want to go through the world paranoid and stressed and assuming the worst of everyone.
Yeah.
So when you get a message like that,
when you're Nathan at boot camp and it's like, hey, it's Zoe, what number? I'm WhatsApping you. Can you tell me what number you have on file for my phone?
Right.
You just have to know not to give that number out.
Right.
If you want that number, call me and I'll give it to you.
It's like when someone calls an establishment and asks what time so-and-so is working. You never tell anybody anything.
No.
Ever, ever, ever.
Yeah. But I think it's an important story just to point out. This guy has knowledge. He's savvy. He does know how to do stuff.
And he's manipulating everybody in her life to make her feel crazy.
Exactly.
So let's go back to Abby. Her boyfriend left her for a bunch of lies. She's living alone, but she's still living her life. Like, her Instagram is thriving and growing. And during this, because like they're all using it for networking stuff, right?
Exactly.
So she meets Lee, who's a photographer, and he does like boudoir, like lingerie photos and implied nude shots. And so Abby and Lee have like a great relationship, and they book a shoot.
Yeah.
And Abby's like, look.
She loves Lee, by the way. She's like, makes me feel super comfortable. I'm assuming Lee is gay.
Yeah.
He must be.
And she's like, look, like, this is my livelihood. This is my business. I decide who sees these photos.
Yeah.
I'm in control of where they go. She's super happy with how the photo shoot went.
Yeah.
And she hears from a friend of hers.
This is insane.
He tells Abby.
He's been having a conversation with me, and he's only just realizing now that it's not me. He said that we'd been having a flirty conversation and that I had sent nude photos to him.
And this person is sending them nude photos pretending to be Abby.
So this is an older man that Abby used to work with, and he'd been having a conversation for like some time with somebody who he thought was Abby.
Right.
And he's like, Abby, I just figured out it's not you. This person was send me nude photos of you. Like, can you like basically her former boss, who like he thought was his lucky day, that hot Abby is,
and
like,
Abby's 20.
And Abby's 20 and he's older.
So Abby is furious. Obviously, it's such a violation. It's fucking disgusting.
He sends her the screenshots that had been sent to him, and they are photos
Like,
from the boudoir shot with Lee.
Her heart must have sank. And when you have a photo shoot like that, I would think, and based on what Abby has told us about Lee, there's an agreement here.
Yes.
You're signing a piece of paper. These photos are under lock and key.
Yeah.
Like, you have to feel comfortable doing a shoot like that, and that's how you stay professional.
Yes.
And earn trust and let Abby feel powerful and sexy and like everything a shoot like that is supposed to be.
Yes.
This is such a disgusting violation.
Because she's like, how did Lee, A, is Lee the stalker?
Right.
B, did Lee give these photos to
And,
like
like,
some
lie to me.
creepy friend of his who
Right.
happened to be my former boss?
And she doesn't want to tell anyone because she feels humiliated.
Yes.
And it's like, Abby, you did nothing wrong here.
But it's not just that the photos got sent to this guy. It's that somebody was pretending to be her.
Right.
And pretending to like engage with him in like a sexy, and like, I know the guy who received the photos is not at fault here, but I do feel a little bit like there should have been some way for him to verify that it was really her.
Right. Like, wow, this is coming out of nowhere.
Exactly.
Beautiful 20-year-old
I know
former coworker.
nobody's ever going to do that. It's like your fucking fantasy just came true. Like, your
guess.
whatever. But like, now Abby is furious at Lee. And she says within the hour of her learning that this happened, she's getting messages from Lee.
He told me he was talking to an Abby on WhatsApp, and he just assumed that it was me, that Abby had asked for the photos from the shoot, and Lee resent the photos to Abby, but it wasn't me.
I just assumed it was you,
Yeah.
and I sent the photos when they asked for them.
Abby describes it as like he's in a panic and he feels really bad because
Yes.
he learned what happened.
But there should be, I'm sorry, Lee, like there should be, in the agreement that you signed with
it should
Abby,
be like a password.
a password
that only you two know.
100%.
Because it really is like, I don't care if they're implied nudes or really nudes or
Yeah.
lingerie or whatever. Like, there's a safety, consent, whole conversation vibe here that I'm feeling. They tried their best, but Lee
And
just
you gotta
like,
know
sent the link.
that you're vulnerable to this, Lee.
Right.
I hope everyone learned a lesson from this. That,
I'm
like,
sure.
you know, going forward, there is a password, or I will only send you the download link
Right.
one time, or whatever it is.
And I guess they had posted that she was there for a shoot because how did this creep know about the photo shoot?
Exactly.
Like,
unless he's tracking her. You know what I mean?
right, or unless she posted one photo. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. And then he
Yeah.
was like, oh, I want the rest or whatever. I don't know. But Abby is saying, like, not only is this terrifying, but she said something that really stuck with me. She goes, I don't even know what I'm running from.
Exactly.
And she's wondering, is it just me? Is it happening to other women? She thinks it's gotta be someone that she knows.
Right. Because who else would know that she had a shoot with Lee?
And all of these women are thinking the same thing. It has to be someone I know. They know too much.
She's saying, like, she suspected her ex-boyfriend, her housemates, her best friend. Was it a girl? You know, like, and she's saying, like, how did they know how I text? How did they know how I type?
Because they're convincing 40, 50 people per victim that it's you. And we talk about this all the time. You know when someone didn't text you.
100%.
You know when it's a copy and paste job. You know when it's like, that's not... Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like when I thought my dad, I was like, that's not my dad texting me. And my mom was like, he's using that stupid voice to text, but he spelt my name wrong.
But you were like in a total panic for 5 minutes.
I was like, you just know it's, you know it when you see it. And you're like, that's off.
Yes.
Something's wrong.
Totally.
So he was able to not do that. Like it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Whether like, you know, maybe most people don't think about it or they're just like typing really short. But like if you're communicating with her former boss being all sexy.
That's what I mean. Like they're kind of level jumping in turn. It's not just like, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
It's serious conversation.
And like I just can't get out of my mind how easy this would be to do to anybody. You could do it to me. You could do this to anybody.
So Leah, her mom is named Maria.
Yeah.
And Maria explains,
we went to the place that Leah was going to go to, who have doormen, and we told them what was happening. We asked them to look after her. And even the doorman said, you're not to go to the toilet on your own.
She wouldn't go to the bathroom, and like if they were out at a pub, like Maria would walk her to the bathroom.
I mean, she's explaining that like for the first time in Leah's like these are all outgoing women who want to be in the nightlife.
Thriving.
Yes, and they just want to like build their social media presence. Leah would go out with her friends all the time, and suddenly like she just wants to stay home. She doesn't want to go out. They would have to talk to the bouncer at the club and be like, "This is what's happening." And the bouncer's like, "You can't be out of my sight."
Right. And so, but like Zoe gets a samurai sword for protection.
Zoe.
She must be one of those incredibly well-rounded people where she's like, I know how to use this. I've been practicing.
Can you imagine?
Studying for years. It wouldn't surprise me.
Also, like, if you're the intruder, you deserve to die the most painful way possible. And I feel like the samurai sword's going to get that job done.
Yeah, just don't sharpen it for a while.
No,
because sometimes they're really good.
Like, you imagine you break into her house and she pulls out a samurai sword.
Look,
you turn it around.
Turn around and run.
Yeah.
Abby is moving back with her parents. The whole point is that they are spiraling, and that's the point of this.
Yes.
The goal is to make them frozen with fear, to feel like their lives are over. They can't trust anyone. Anyone can jump out at any time. Well, that's the goal.
And Abby is the one that really drives this point home, that like he was impersonating her to members of her family, so now her own family doesn't trust her anymore.
Which is stupid, family.
That
I'm
is
sorry.
Like such a betrayal.
Trust your niece when she's telling you this is happening.
I know.
But then the other scary thing is like, you'd be out with a friend and the stalker would be texting about the friend like, oh, hey, ask Lily how her father Phil is.
I know.
And you're like, how do you know I'm with Lily?
But it's also, why are you taking the call? Because like Zoe says, I was out with my friend and the phone rang and my friend was like, let me answer it. Yeah. And the friend is like, leave her alone. You're a creep.
I guess because at this point, they just want to get to the bottom of who it is. They just want to catch someone. They want to catch him in a slip up or something.
You know, and that reminds me, like when Zoe went to the police, one of the things they said, like she said, I have his phone number. Can you just like trace the number?
And he said, oh yeah, we can do that. But we only do it in high profile cases like a rape or a murder. And I remember at that point I sat there and I said, so you're not going to do anything until something like that happens?
So I'll just wait.
Yeah, I'll just wait till he kills me.
Yep.
And then you'll figure out who this was.
And they're like, yeah, pretty much. Thanks so much. And also, like, each of our victims feel totally alone because it's so specific to you that it doesn't feel like they could be doing this to somebody else.
Yeah.
And it just really like, this is so much work, you fucking loser.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
it is so much to convince all of these people. Because if you think about it, if you do like a little like pyramid tree thing.
Yeah.
It's like Abby and then 50 people related to Abby.
Yes.
And then Zoe and 50 people. It's so much work to be doing simultaneously.
And what's so crazy, like this is where we get 10 minutes on this, where they're like, they are all imagining that like this person is alone in a dark house somewhere where it's like serial killer walls.
No.
Where, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like one, because the only way they're thinking that you can keep my friend Rachel's dad Phil in your mind is to have it all on the wall in front of you. You know, like the web just grows and grows and grows. And what is so scary and fucked about this whole thing is that like the only way a person can be doing this is if this is their full-time job. They've got nothing else. They've got nothing but time on their hands.
Yep.
You know?
Time and hate. And anger.
Time and hate and a real desire to do this.
To cause chaos.
Yes.
So we're back with Abby. Abby makes plans to go back to Ibiza because she's like, I need an escape.
Yeah.
I'm taking my friend with me. But this guy knows. I don't know how he knows, but he texts her, I know you're going to Ibiza. You need to be very careful. Beware.
I'm gonna come to Ibiza and get you. I'll find you. and you'll get hurt. Not in a violent way, in other ways.
I was really scared.
Nobody fucks about with me.
I'm going to find you and you'll get hurt, not in a violent way, in other ways.
Terrifying.
Nobody fucks around with me.
He said nobody fucks about with me. And I'm
Yes.
like, oh, so he's definitely British.
Yeah.
We know that for sure. He's a British guy.
But I mean, like, that is a direct threat. You know what I mean?
Of course it is.
And like, that's kind of like when Zoe was at the cops and they're saying like,
It's not actionable.
It's not actionable. This to me is a real threat. So Abby calls the cops and she's like, I don't know what to do now. So the cops are like, all right, we're going to like, do you feel like you're in imminent danger? And she says yes. And they're like, fine, we're going to call you back in 10 minutes.
They say the cops will be there within an hour. And I'm like,
Yeah.
don't put a rush on it, boys.
Right. I mean, honestly. So then they call her back like 10 minutes later and they're like, well, we don't think you're in imminent danger. So are you sure you want us to like come out and make
Like
such a
waste
big
our time.
deal on this?
They made Abby feel stupid.
Right.
And so she tells them not to come.
Right.
Which is insane. And at first I was like, did the stalker call her back? Like, did the cops really say this to her?
Right.
But they did because they are trash in this situation.
I mean, he says, I'm going to come to Ibiza and I'm going to find you. That, like, you cannot make a more
Nobody
direct threat
fucks
than
with
that.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to hurt you and do other things like God knows. So, and also we kind of stop here for a minute. And the women are talking about how sad this is. And it's so many things, but it really is sad.
Yes.
Their lives were so fun and so full, and they
Yeah.
were happy, and they had great careers that they worked really hard for.
I've worked so hard making connections with people that have just been ruined. People don't want anything to do with me now. It's upsetting, and it's so confusing.
And they used to feel safe.
Yeah.
Or they just used to not have anything to make them not feel safe anymore. And this person took it away from them for no reason.
And what's so crazy, and I'm sure we'll get more into this in episode 2, but what's crazy is that it is just one person.
It is just one person.
So, like, they're thinking this must be a network of people. There must be a group of people out there trying to get me, who want to kill me, who want me dead or whatever. I just want to say there is strength in realizing how small
Yes.
this really is.
Yeah.
Now, I know when you're in it, you can't.
doesn't
It's
feel that
very,
way.
very hard to see that. You feel like the entire world is against you.
And you feel like an alien.
Yes.
You
Yes.
feel like not even a person.
They
You
take-
disassociate completely.
And that's what makes me feel for them because, like, they are trying to ruin their lives.
100%. But
And I'm sorry, one person is trying to ruin their lives by making them feel like it's all of these people, and it just isn't.
And at the same time, on the other hand, because many things are true at once here, it only takes one person.
Right.
So in 2019, Zoe gets a message from an ex of hers.
It was a guy who I couldn't link to anything. There was something different about that message. When it's been photographers before, when it's been people I've known, there's always been that link towards me. This name, I had no idea who this person was. There was no common ground that they would be contacting me on, so it did feel different.
There's like no common ground is what Zoe's saying.
Yeah, this was a little hard for me to follow here, but essentially, a person was messaging this man who used to date Zoe.
Yeah.
Now, this man is the stalker.
Yes.
And he's giving himself up. So I don't know why he's doing this.
I don't know why either. And he's lying about his connection to Zoe because Zoe's like, I don't know this person.
He's using his real name.
His name is Matthew Hardy, everyone.
Hardy. And so, like, Zoe's just like, I don't understand, like, why he's messaging my partner about me. I don't know him. My partner doesn't know him. But, like, he's messaging my ex-partner about me. So
Right.
Zoe's got a name now. She goes to Facebook. She pulls up the profile.
She's like,
We
he's totally
see it.
mediocre.
Yeah. And,
at best.
And that's the thing. Because she's like, well, can this actually be the guy? Because the guy, my stalker, is terrifying.
Right.
This guy's just like a normal fucking
Right.
weirdo.
Yeah, this guy knows where I am. He's like the monster under the bed.
Yeah.
And that's what the guy wanted her to think. That's why
Right.
he would taunt her the way he was taunting her.
So she puts his name into Google, and instantly an article from 10 years ago in The Guardian comes up.
The Northwich Guardian.
And I was like, everything that I was reading, that's what he's done to me. It was like reading it about myself. This was the person, Matthew Hardy.
It's like I'm reading my own story.
Yes.
I can't believe it. The stalking, the harassment. And she goes, this is the person doing this to me. And she goes, I'm ready to fight him and get justice. I'm going to get you, Matthew. And I'm like, yes!
Yes. So fam, that is the end of episode 1. Episode 2 is available right now, ad-free on Patreon. You do not have to wait until next week to find out what happens here.
Yep.
If you're on Patreon, you have it in your feed already. If you want to join the Patreon to go download it, you also get over 400 full ad-free bonus episodes. But episode 2 will also be our regular episode next week.
Yes, exactly. So let me read some bullshit to you. Because the documentary had reached out, because these women are all in the UK, but they're in different jurisdictions or whatever. So in response to Zoe's case, the cops said, we are committed to bringing offenders to justice. We welcome the opportunity to understand where they feel we might have fallen short of the high expectations we have.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Womp womp. And then for Abby's case, the police said, we take every reported incident of stalking very seriously. All calls received are assessed for officer attendance based on the level of threat. Meaning that they called her back and they were like, do you think this is serious?
Right. Yeah.
Like they're defending that.
He literally says, I'm coming to Ibiza and I'm going to get you.
They say, after speaking to the victim and providing her with safety advice, it was agreed that immediate attendance was not required as she was in no imminent danger. They said that today.
Oh my God.
Leah went on to make further contact with the police through her employer, because remember, Leah's the paralegal.
Yeah.
So they said, we carried out a thorough investigation. Now, it should be known that Abby's case and Leah's case were both at the Kent police.
Yes, they were in the same fucking police department and they didn't put it together.
And they didn't even say, wow, we should maybe listen to women. This is happening.
Yeah.
The same thing, an internal review concluded that whilst the victim had been provided with an acceptable level of service, officers could have contacted her via telephone to reassure her.
Oh my God.
Thanks for nothing.
Oh my God, girl. We did episode 1 of Can I Tell You a Secret?
Yep.
Wild.
It's on Netflix. But we know his name, Matthew Hardy. We're
Matthew
getting
Hardy.
him.
Episode 2 is all about getting the guy, which is really satisfying.
I hope the women feel that too.
Yes.
Like it was cathartic.
Right, because it doesn't happen all the time.
It's very rarely.
All right, fam, there's no coming up on, so just stay tuned for our funny and hilarious outtakes. And we love you.
We love you so much.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye. The thing about Abby, and we're seeing all of these videos, and this is where I'm like, Ibiza looks super fun.
Yeah.
Which I never thought I would say that.
Oh, okay.
Because it sounds crazy, like you have to party all night long and it's loud and everyone's drunk all the time.
Okay.
Which I could deal with that part.
Right. I never got that from Ibiza at all.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I just thought maybe it's a place where it's glamorous people go to party, but I didn't think that's all it was.
It sounds much more like Mykonos than I imagined. You know what I mean? So Prunilla's yacht. We're doing such a good job keeping this very, I think people are able to follow it.
Okay, good.
I said it a few weeks ago,
worried.
but I think our podcast is good.
I don't know. Is it? I'm on the fence.
I think it's good, but I think we're doing a really good job. So good job, us.
Yeah, good job.